Become a member of the National At-Home Dad Network, an organization focused on providing advocacy, community, education, and support. Connecting with households where dad is the primary caregiver of the children. We do this through our webinar and podcast series, mental health support groups, regular online social events, as well as our annual convention. The National At-Home Dad Network is a 100% volunteer organization. Without the generous support of its members and the community around it, we would not be able to continue the work that we do. Becoming a member gives you access to past convention speaker presentations, the ability to vote for board members annually, and ensures that the organization's fees and bills are in positive standing. Oh yeah, it should not go unmentioned that there is some cool swag headed your way if you decide to become a member. For only $35 a year, your membership provides you with the exclusive content only we can generate, and you'll be supporting an organization that benefits families all around the country and world. By advocating for them, offering them community, providing education and guidance, and supporting them to grow in their parenthood journey. And one last thing, if you contribute $500 or more, you will become a lifetime member. Not only will you receive everything already mentioned, but also a certificate recognizing your status and an exclusive National At-Home Dad Network challenge coin with our trademark logo, Dads Don't Babysit. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member today. Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock.
My name is Danny.
And we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Home Dad Chat, the show where you just never know what's going to happen. But hey, we're here. We made
like
it through
a
another
box of chocolates, man. Like
Yes.
a box of chocolates.
That's right. You never know what you're going to get. That's for sure. So it's all good. Does that make you Lieutenant Dan? Am I Gump?
No. I'm afraid because you've been in the military.
Oh, so I would be
You're Lieutenant Dan, and I'm definitely Forrest Gump in this equation.
Awesome.
Except for all of the running. Oh my God, you got the running, but
You're from the South though, so that works, I guess.
There you
gotta
go.
Be Forrest Gump. So
Jenny, will you marry me? And I was
man.
like, he talks, what do you call, he don't have an accent. He sounds fine. And of course, yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Man, he taught Elvis Presley how to dance. And they had that new Elvis movie come out, and they didn't show that. And I was just upset, man.
Like, Forrest Gump didn't make it into the Elvis movie.
Right? He taught Elvis how to do that thing with his leg. Come on. You remember?
I hear it. Yeah, I do remember that, definitely. So,
and then,
but yeah. Anyway, lots of good movies out too. We could definitely get on that, but I haven't seen any too many.
I was going to say, have you seen the new Thor movie? Because I have not.
No, haven't seen that yet. I actually, honestly, like, this is how bad I am behind. I have yet to watch the Multiverse yet, even though it's on Disney Plus.
Dude,
I know.
you need to get on that, because we could talk about that for an hour.
I haven't even finished Stranger Things yet because they like turned it into a gosh dang movie at the end of it. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes for like the final episode.
You're not missing anything. Come on, man. This is the multiverse. This is the Marvel universe we're talking about. This is, I know. Stranger Things just doesn't. Yeah. No. And they came out with, they brought Vecna out too, because I have not watched this season at all. My son's watching it, and he's in there, and he's like, Dad, you know who Vecna is? And I'm like, son, I was around when Vecna was invented, man. Come on. Yeah, I know who Vecna is.
I love that it caters to those who have been a part of the Dungeons and Dragons group for so long. So
here, that's me.
I am not like a part of that, but at the same time, like, I love that like nerd lore that comes with it, honestly. And so for me, like, it is very intriguing. But at the same time, I think it's just quite interesting that for those who, I don't know, man, like, if you grew up in that time, it
Mhm.
just speaks to you in
Yeah.
so many ways. So it's a pretty cool show. I really have enjoyed it.
And it's one of those things too. I find there were a lot of people that wanted to play it or played it and didn't tell anybody, kind of thing, that it admitted, and then now it's getting big and again, or I guess for the first time, it's really huge. And people are like, oh man, I remember when I played D&D in middle school or high school, whatever, college. I'm like, that's cool, because that is something that you see it and you enjoy it, but all your friends just hate on it, and you don't, as a kid, have the intestinal fortitude really to just step forward and go, well, I'm going to do it anyway, even if my friends are laughing at me. Or if your mom thinks it's about Satanism and, throws all your books out or whatever, which my mom did that. Yay.
Oh, so you could really, you haven't seen the episodes, and you're really going to make me feel seen when you watch the new season.
Oh, I'm going to cry a little. I can tell, because the things that James, my son, told me, and what's the funniest part of it. Okay, so this is second edition stuff. All right, first and second edition. So this is old school D&D. All right.
Oh, sure.
But Vecna had 2 artifacts that existed on the material plane. Now, I don't remember all the details of it, but basically, adventurers were out looking for the eye of Vecna and the hand of Vecna. All right.
Okay.
And if you found this item, it's basically, it looks like an eye, and you take your own eye out and put it in its place, you get these deific, magnificent powers, right?
Okay.
Same with the hand. You cut off your hand and put Vecna's hand on there, and suddenly you have huge magical abilities, right?
Right.
And it was a huge thing. Everybody was looking for. There were a couple of stream of modules set on. A lot of people did campaigns around it because it was really OP if you got it. Okay. And so somebody invented the idea of the head of Vecna, which would give you literal Vecna powers, like demigod level powers. And it was
what you just explained.
But you cannot imagine the number of players who ran their characters trying to find that thing, found what they thought it was, and killed somebody. Either took their own head off or their friend's head off, and went, this isn't work. Why isn't this working? Oh man. And sorry, not sorry. It was great. It was a fantastic storyline, because a lot of DMs, the people that run the game, of course, called a DM, Dungeon Master, whatever.
Right.
They're up there telling the story, but a lot of, especially the old school DMs, all they wanted was to kill the players in creative ways. It was, and I've never played that way, because you're the DM, you're the storyteller, you're the person that runs the universe. So anybody at the table pisses me off, I can basically say, oh yeah, rocks fall, you die. Write up a new character. I mean, I'm like, what's the fun in that? I don't want to kill my characters,
Well, that's the thing with Stranger Things, is that no one's died. Like, all the main characters are still there. So like,
Hellfire
it's kind of
Club.
Yeah, exactly. So you got the whole Hellfire Club and everything going on. But what's interesting is that at the end of this season, apparently there is somebody that dies. And so that's, and apparently there's also a campaign online to actually somehow like resurrect this person back for like the next season. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so I don't know exactly. I just keep hearing like whispers of what's going on. But regardless, like, you figure at this point somebody's got to go. Like, there's got to be something. Like, they're fighting this evil like this. I mean,
they've definitely tread a very, very thin line between life and death many times.
But the way that you describe Vecna is completely different in a lot of ways than how they portray him, especially in this season, especially. So there's no like looking for any kind of like eye or hand or anything like that. So it's completely different setup.
So have you seen this season though? Are you caught up on this season?
So I'm at the final like episode of this season. So it's like 2 hours and like, it's like 2 hours and like 22 minutes. And I just haven't had any time to just sit down and watch it to enjoy it. So I'll get to it at some point this week probably, but just trying to get everything else taken care of. I went home last weekend, so to help my sister move into her new place. So
new big house, you said, so that everybody can come visit.
Yeah, nice big place
right?
for sure. Yeah, we were joking with my brother-in-law about the fact that he needs a pool table and a sectional couch downstairs because it's like one of those big, like sort of one of those like 90s houses where you got a double garage and then it's got like a front sitting room and then a dining room kitchen and then like a little like step down den type of deal.
Mhm.
And there's a sunroom in the back, but then there's a full basement downstairs
All right.
with like the columns, you know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
type of
yeah.
deal. Yeah, you know
Like
what I'm talking about.
the metal post or whatever.
Oh no, these are
Or
actual
is it
columns. Like
surround?
they're
All right.
yeah, like they're
Fancy.
finished columns, but it's just one of those deals where it's like, you could have one side be like where like the pool table is or the ping pong table is, and on the other side it's like the sectional with like a big screen TV and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's watching a movie down there type of deal. So, and we were joking with him, we're like, yeah, man, you're gonna have to fill this space.
Hook us up. That's right.
And
The
he's
reason
not
you
like
have
a
that much
social
space.
and he's not a social guy at
No.
all. Like so he's kind of like, y'all just trying to figure out ways to come hang out at my house, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. You
But
picked the wrong house, sir. This house
yeah,
is obviously set up for people who want to be social and have parties.
very. Yeah. So
I don't know about a
it's
pool table, man. Have you ever moved a pool table?
oh yeah.
Ever?
Yeah, that slate
I,
is no joke.
I don't think that's worth it. I don't think I play so many other games you could play. Pool tables just, and if you
Fine.
put it in there, you're going to keep that house for a while. When you sell that house, that pool table's going with it. You're going to like brush that thing down, make it look pretty, put a new lamp over it with like the Budweiser logo or something silly and
get it refelted.
It goes with the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you could be like Brian Frampton and just have a full size air hockey table downstairs in your basement.
Yeah. See that I would do. I would move that. I love air hockey.
That's legit. He's got a legit basement like that, like where you walk downstairs and there's an air hockey table and he's got a bar and then he's got like his couch and decent big screen TV down there to hang out and stuff. And I'm like, yep, this is definitely a hangout spot. Your kiddo, when they get older, they're gonna be like, well, whose house are we going to? We're going to the Framptons to hang out.
Yeah, we're going to our house. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I told Marnie. That's kind of what I want. I want our house to be at least one of the houses where all the kids in the neighborhood know that they're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
They can come by. We got plenty of snacks. We got food, and something going on downstairs. Because the basement's really, I mean, I've got my room and we got other stuff down here, but it's mainly for the kids just to have a place to play when it's cold.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, and I want I don't know if I'm going to get one because I don't know how the quality, but I want an outdoor projector of some sort.
Man, you can get those for so cheap now. It's insane.
You can, but you have to use the cheaper ones. You have to wait until the sun goes completely down.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, because of the different luminescences of them. But still, right. I mean, regardless, like it's pretty nice deal, honestly. Like, even just to get a screen, like, it doesn't take a whole lot. But the nice part with the projectors is that a lot of times you can get the connections that plug in from your phone, like straight into to those. So like I have a buddy that he does fight nights at his house. So like, hey, we're going to watch boxing. And so we go over to his place and he's paid for like the subscription for like the main boxing application. And so basically like anytime there's a fight, like, everybody else is paying pay-per-view or whatever. We don't have to pay any of that. Just go over and get a bunch of wings and some beer and hang out and watch the fight. So
cool.
Good time.
Mm-hmm. But, that's kind of what I want. My brother-in-law has one that he does on his phone and we did I don't remember what movie we watched. We watched movies at his house and he was just like, yeah, watch, click, click, click. And they had a little Bluetooth speaker. So we had two of them, one on each side. And I'm like, those are cool. He goes, yeah. And then I just take them inside and use them in there when we do, just for movies or whatever else on the TV and anything, just extra sound,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Definitely. That's the one thing that's kind of neat about that. Like, so you're talking about, you had to wait till the sun goes down. On one side of my house, it'd be like the perfect place to just like drop a sheet and like project it right onto the side of the house or whatever. And everybody can just hang out and watch a movie or whatever. So, but
very cool.
Yeah. But you were talking about like, you want your house to be like the place to hang out. Like that's how our house was when I was growing up. Like everybody's kind of knew they could come over, hang out, grab stuff out of the fridge, whatever it was. Like it was no big deal ever. And you got to ask one time, like, hey, can I get something to drink or whatever? And then after that, it was like, don't ask, like, just go get it. Like,
yeah. First time you're a guest, after that, you're family, you get your
right.
own. Yeah, that's how we do it. Now, I didn't grow up that way at all, but that is definitely what I feel like I want my house to be.
Yeah.
Even if there's 5 houses like that in the neighborhood, I want us to have one, where kids can just, straight in, right through the garage door and go downstairs. And, I go downstairs for whatever reason and find 6 kids in there. Like, okay, who's hungry? I don't know. What are we doing? And how hungry are you? So
kids need that these days, man. I mean, honestly, like it's one of those things where I feel like it's kind of like lost its little of its thunder in a way. Like, that used to be the thing. Like there were houses that you knew, like, hey, like I'm having a crappy day. Like, I know I can go over here and get like a piece of chocolate cake and just sit down and talk with somebody or whatever it was, and that's kind of fallen away just because everybody's sort of like just kind of schlunked back into this like isolation type of deal where nobody knows their neighbor anymore. And I know, like, when we moved into this neighborhood, that was the one thing that we really wanted to make our place was a place where we got to know the neighbors and people, could feel comfortable coming over and just hanging out or whatever. And so hopefully that continues, because we've definitely gotten to know quite a few of our neighbors in that time. So but we'll see how it all plays out. I know I was actually talking with a dad. I'm not going to name who he is just because the situation, but basically, like, he was telling me that he was at a church youth like conference or something out of state. And one of the kids, I guess, tried to harm themselves or was talking about harming themselves or something like that. And he has basically been sort of put on like on call duty with this kid. So he's just hanging out with him like the whole time and just trying to basically like love on him and just be there for him and stuff. And it's just like, that I can remember that time. I can remember what that was like, and going to something and just like all the emotions and you just don't know what to do. But I've definitely been in a place where it's like, all right, I'm just hitting the eject button, I'm done. And but having somebody there to be like, nope, but that's not really necessary. Just pull your hand away from the red button. So, and that's the thing that I feel like a lot of dads strive to be that person where they can have, that ability to help just other kids out that are in rough situations and stuff.
And we've talked plenty of times about how our age, grown adults need a mentor, somebody you can just talk to. And kids, it's so much more important because a lot of the things you run into in life, depending on your parents, of course, there are things that come up and your parents are not the people to talk to. They're just not, they've already told you, I really hate Dungeons and Dragons. I don't want you ever to play Dungeons and Dragons. And you're like, but Mom, I really want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Now that's a very simplified illustration, obviously, but the reality of it is so many things that we run into as kids, we're not ready for,
right?
There was just for whatever reason, a lot of times I feel like as parents don't tell their kids about stuff until they hit it, until it hits them in the face, kind of thing.
Right. They wait too long. Yeah. They wait too long to address the situation.
Yeah. And you don't want to push your kids. You don't want to give your kids too much information. I absolutely understand that. But at the same time, when's this going to come up? Whatever it is, what age are they going to be? Are they, especially if you're talking about, from 10 years to 20, teenagers run into just completely different things at completely different ages.
Yeah.
Gotta prepare them as well as you can. But a lot of times, even if the parents are great and did everything right, that everything as prepared as they can be, you still need somebody you can talk to that is objective, is non-judgmental, is caring, but isn't going to try to harangue you into doing something different or isn't going to criticize you. They're just going to listen and give you some what I would call fatherly advice,
Well, I was listening to NPR today, and they were talking about the fact that, a lot of folks, especially folks of color, just don't have any sort of access to financial education, and that like if people of color had the financial education that they needed to understand like a bank account or personal investment or whatever it is, like that the amount of money that would go into the economy would like what they say it would be like 3 trillion. It was some crazy number. I was amazed by it. It was a big number, and I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. But it makes total sense because like for instance, they were talking about the fact that these stimulus checks went out, everybody was getting them, and what was happening is that people were having to wait on getting them because they didn't have a bank account, so they're waiting on them to come in the mail. And then since they don't have a bank, then they got to go to like a check money place or whatever, and they get a portion of the money, so they're not even getting all of their stimulus check because of that on top of it. And so they were just talking about like just all the money that would be lost, that was lost actually, from folks that were having to go through that route to get their stimulus money. And I know like we've talked with I don't know if he's been on, he presented at DadCon at Home. Grayson Stalvey talked about the financial freedom and some different things like that when we did the DadCon at Home virtual convention.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of years ago, and he's actually a local guy here in Cincinnati, but he does a lot to connect with kids who are in situations where they didn't grow up financially sound. Their parents didn't. And just working with like very young African-American, very young, just, kids of color who just did not grow up around that. And so I was just thinking about it. It just immediately like hit me. I'm like, yes, like this is a big thing that needs to change in our culture, is the fact that, that should be a level playing field. Nobody should feel like they can't acquire that.
Yeah, that's one of many, I would say.
But, yeah.
I mean, even no matter where you're from, I think in this country, most of us don't have the financial education that we really need. I mean, people living paycheck to paycheck is so common. It's just something that so many people do. And, you're still running into that problem with people that have enough money and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know where to put it. They don't know how to save it. They don't know how to do anything. So all levels of financial education would be very beneficial, I think.
Yeah.
I want Dave Ramsey to go out and give a seminar to every person in the world and figure out that debt snowball and get everybody out of debt. That's what I want. So that'd be cool.
And that is a very interesting. I've been through that, and it is very interesting. And I feel at the same time a very tough, like there's some hard knocks that come with it, but it's definitely got a lot of good that comes out of it for sure. So
that saved us, I think. I mean, Marnie, of course, is really good at budgeting, but we snowballed our debt. We, picked one, paid off the smallest one, and paid off the next one, paid off the car, and we're at a point now. I mean, we just bought a truck or a Suburban and a house. So that's our debt. But like
nice,
her car, the van that we had previously, I mean, but it wasn't through anything other than sacrifice. Like Dave Ramsey's books always say, if you want to live like nobody else, you have to live like nobody else.
Right.
And, so
yep,
very
definitely.
important.
For sure.
Good information.
For sure. Definitely. So speaking of financial stuff and everything, kind of, I can feel that just because of the fact that I've been sort of looking at like budgeting wise, like what it's going to take for me to go to Home DadCon this year.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it's a bit more expensive this year than in past years, and not because of anything that like is convention related. It's mainly flight is the big thing. Like just trying to get a cheap flight is almost non-existent in some ways. So I've considered like hitchhiking across the country, like just jumping in someone's like 18-wheeler just to get across or whatever. But
I looked at a road trip. I really did. I thought, well, I mean, if I could drive and then pick somebody up on the way, maybe pick up a couple of people, take the Prius, so we're definitely keeping the gas mileage.
Right.
But it's like an all day, like it's a 24-hour, road trip. It's like, no, I would,
no.
I mean, I could do it, I guess, but I would be miserable.
Right. I mean, I remember road tripping up to Minneapolis, and going up wasn't so bad because I stopped and picked up Pat Jacobs and slept that night and then went up. So that wasn't too bad. And we shared, driving. And then on the way back, that's when it was wild because it was like, all right, I'm doing this all in one day. And it was like, we left in the morning. He drove the whole way to his place in Illinois. And then I drove the whole way to my place. So it was a decent split for the most part. But oh my gosh, yeah, to drive out to Arizona would be a trip, man.
I mean, and if it was like, if I had like a larger vehicle that didn't suck gas constantly, and I could like make it a road trip with the kids, and we could stop like an RV and we could stop every night. Yeah, I would do that. I would. If I could take a nice leisurely, like 3 days to drive out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I would. But man, the thought of trying to get on there and just hot dog it all the way out and stop just to pick somebody up so we can switch out drivers, and then I'm too old for that.
Yeah, that's the body can't quite handle that.
No.
But anyway, yeah, so that's sort of on the horizon for me, is just kind of getting that all put in place. And the crazy part is that I was actually looking at the countdown for the convention. And as we record today, we are 79 days away, which is pretty mind-blowing, honestly, because it's like, where did the time go? It's so quickly approaching, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like you hit the summer and there's so many different things that happen, you kind of lose track of time, and then all of a sudden you like look back and you're like, oh crap, like, wow, it's all barreling towards us type of deal. But but I feel like the committee's done a really good job of bringing in some really awesome speakers this year. And I know I say that every year, but this is I feel like a very just diverse group of individuals who are going to be presenting. And this is actually going to be one of the first years in a while that one of the breakout, or like a combination of breakout sessions, is going to involve like age groups. I think the last time that was done was maybe back in like Portland or maybe Denver. And so it's been a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been a couple of years.
Yeah. So we've broke it up into like 4 different age groups, which is going to be really neat. And yeah, I mean,
and the format for that one I like, because what we do is basically we find somebody that's just recently dealt with that. If you want toddlers, it's somebody whose kid is like 5 or something, so it's just within a recent time frame that they've had experience with it, and they're able to answer questions.
Yep.
And they're able to commiserate, which is a huge part of it. But to have a panel of people that can sit up there and say, okay, so what questions do you have about, 2 to 3 year olds, and then the other age groups. And I don't know what the age groups are this year, but to have somebody that's sitting there willing to answer that question. And it seems from everything that I've heard that relationship or that offer to help continues beyond the convention too.
Yeah.
You sit in the room with them and you get to know them and figure out they know what they're talking about. But then you don't really have time to answer your question, or which happens, I think, more often, you get home and you're like, oh my God, why is my kid doing this? What is going on? Why they were fine. I never had this problem. Somebody else said their kids are, so you're always saying no and yelling at them. My kid would never do that. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. And then suddenly I come home and my kid like picked it up by osmosis or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, so, I think that too, the fact that this year with the introduction of the Discord server, I think that's going to be a huge thing. Cause like so there's been a lot of guys that got connected with it, and it seems like there's a lot of conversations that go on because there's so many different channels that can be built into it. And instead of like, where you go on Facebook and you got to like click through the different groups, it's a much more simpler thing to be able to get into them, but
more dedicated too.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because like I was like on the just the stay-at-home dad, like it's kind of like an international group or whatever on Facebook. It's much larger than the national group, but it's made up of quite a few different backgrounds of stay-at-home dads, some conservative, some not so conservative, and just you run the gamut of dads in there, which is cool. But I saw where one guy was talking about how like he felt very isolated. He wished that there was a way to connect with other stay-at-home dads. And then someone else posted like, yeah, I wish there was like a Discord channel or Discord server or something like that. And I was like, immediately, like, I'm like, as a matter of fact, there is. And like put in the like link or whatever and had like 4 or 5 guys like jump in and was just like, this is awesome. Like, I'm so glad that this was created. And so I'm hoping that will be something that helps carry on like the conversations through Home Dad Con, with people who maybe they didn't get their question answered or something crazy like you were talking about happens when they get home. They're like, well, my kid wasn't doing that when I left, but now,
right.
What the hell? Put a bug in my freaking.
He keeps putting my keys in his diaper.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, he just does. Yeah, he just takes the keys and puts them in his diaper. Now, I mean, I never lost my car keys because I put them, I guess I'm anal about where I put my stuff and keep it. But Marnie lost her keys on 2 occasions and they were both in the kid's pants, and it's just like, what it was diapers. So you don't have pockets, maybe. I guess that's what it is. You just want to, I wish you were a marsupial and you just want to stick it in there like a kangaroo or a possum or something.
Just keeping them warm.
What are you doing? Right. Yeah. And like, ew. Yeah.
Would you like a gummy bear? They've been in my pocket all day. Right. They're nice and warm.
I only licked 2 of them. I don't know which 2. I put them back in the bag. Yeah.
No, you don't know what that quote's from?
Oh, no.
Like that's actually a movie quote.
Nope. Doesn't ring a bell.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off at the very end when the principal gets on the bus.
Oh, all right.
Down next to like the weird girl. She's like,
weird girl.
Would you like
You're
a
so
gummy?
mean.
I know. Would you like a gummy bear?
I don't remember that, but I remember getting on the bus because his shoe was off and his hair is messed up and his ties, like almost on fire. He's like, okay. And sits down next to the goofy kid.
It's almost like one of those like preemptive like secret scenes to the movie because it happens like so late and almost in the credits itself. But yeah, anyway, I digress.
That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, right. We keep everybody on their toes.
This is the thing too that I always am concerned about, not really concerned about, but I'm mindful of, is that you do the editing for the shows. You do most of the work basically in the show's production because, oh man, editing. But you also have to pick a title. Every week you pick a title that tries to encompass all of the rabbit trails we ran down through that day, through that show. And it's like, oh, well, like this show, what are we talking about? I don't know, man. We're just talking. And, so maybe D&D, I don't know, maybe gaming. I don't know, man.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens in that.
Someday we'll learn to focus.
I don't think so.
No. I'm pulling your leg. So, but anyway, Home Dad Con.
There, that's the title. So. Another unfocused show. Another unfocused episode.
This is why Danny needs Adderall.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not on Adderall, y'all. Just saying. I'm not.
Oh man.
Maybe should be. But anyway, so Home Dad Con, some great breakouts coming up.
Right, definitely. And also
Keynotes.
too, we'll take this moment to say that we have Home Dad Chat vinyl stickers that we just produced, and I know that some people saw them on the Discord channel, but we're gonna do some giveaways with these. I was thinking that maybe for this episode, I think that the first person to send us, how do we want to do this? The first person to comment on Instagram, we'll do it that way. So when we post this episode, the first person to comment on the Instagram post, what was...
Let's just say, I want a sticker.
I want a sticker?
Yeah, because I mean, first person that posts, who knows what they're talking about? They might just see it. It might be a bot. But first person says, I want a sticker. Ah, see?
All right. Well, we're going to go off of Danny's thing. First person to say that they want a sticker.
I mean, if they got this far into the episode.
Yeah, I would say, they deserve a reward for sure. All right. So you heard it here. So first person to comment, I want a sticker.
On Instagram.
We'll send you out a sticker. So that's how we'll do that.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
First sticker giveaway.
First sticker
giveaway in the mail.
That's right. In the mail.
And I just want to tell everybody too, I don't have any of those stickers, so I might be the first person on Instagram if you're not quick. You jump in there.
I gotta send.
Al stays home.
I'll send you some
comments on that. That's he wins. All right. I'm just saying.
It's all good.
No, yeah, it's fine. I am very excited about us having stickers. Have just a little bit of paraphernalia from. I mean, the show's been going on for so long, and we're really getting to the audience that I feel we intended to reach.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That we're really talking to the people that really matter to us. I mean, and probably a lot of people that we didn't expect either. Yeah. But we're really able to talk to people that just need to, I guess, listen to two guys talk about being an at-home dad. Well,
last week's episode was awesome, man. Talking to Joshua, and honestly, like I'm excited to get him back on the show and talk about, it's kind of what he's been dealing with his kiddo and all the hospital stuff. Mm-hmm. But just getting to talk to him about like
poor guy,
all of the kosher being a supervisor in the kosher world. And
I didn't know that about him.
I didn't either. It was very I was like, whoa, what are we getting into? This is awesome. And he pulls out all those books. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like almost an encyclopedia. It's like, here's the manual. Wow. All right. Yeah. And it's very, and we talked about this on that episode, but it's very detailed stuff that really, if you're not doing this for a living, you're not going to read this book.
No.
I mean, it's not like a page turner. Ooh, yeah. This is how we make wine, kosher. Cool. I'm not going to read that book. I don't have the mental
fortitude,
focus. I have fortitude. I have fiveitude. But anyway, it was really cool talking to him. I was really surprised to hear that. It doesn't, when he told me, it was like, oh my God, I'd never think you'd do that. Cause he is definitely a learned man.
Oh yeah.
He is just a scholar almost. And every single time I've talked to him, I've learned something. And I love that about Joshua. He comes in, and I've told him this to his face, but he comes in and we start talking about something, he just sits there quietly and lets the conversation go. And then he says, yeah. And then if we do, this happened, and then blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where did you learn this stuff, man? He's a very intelligent man.
That's the whole rabbinic order, like that whole part of things. Like it's all about just sitting and listening, and then picking the right time to finally like speak out.
He does it well too. Cause every time Joshua talks, it means something.
Oh yeah.
Like a guy like me, I just talk all the time and I blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay.
Well, you were talking about the fact that like I edit the podcast. So like editing the podcast with him, like, because he is so thought out in his talking, and this happens with a lot of people, you can tell a person who's like really thinking things like through as they talk. They have these longer pauses of what it is that they want to say so that they're articulating correctly, which is not a problem for me. Like in the faction of like, I just have words and they just out. with him, there were like these long pauses. So, it takes a lot of editing, because you're like, oh, I can't really have that long pause, because that just draws the episode out that much more.
Cut the showtime in half, but worth it. He's like I don't know. I was trying to describe him as a tree, but that didn't really fit. But he just kind of sits in it. But when he talks, it's going to be something worth listening to.
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was great. So we'll get him back on again for sure. So
yeah, we need to talk about him to him about his child too. So, but anyhow, that's it for me, man. What else you got?
I think I don't have a whole lot else. I mean, tonight we've got a planning meeting. So here we are, we're in July. So August and September. So in all actuality, like, there's only a couple months or so left of just getting things situated. We'll probably have a few more planning meetings, but we're trying to get everything squared away. So that's tonight's a kind of a big meeting night for all that. So But hopefully, here soon we'll start seeing guys buy their registrations. I know a lot of guys have been sitting back kind of waiting, but honestly, like the sooner the better. Hotel rooms are filling up super fast.
Yeah, definitely.
We were talking about that last week. got numbers, and they're definitely up there, which is awesome. So there's a lot of guys that are planning on coming. It's just the tickets haven't been sold, but the hotel rooms have been reserved. So, which is important anyways, because honestly, like it doesn't cost anything up front to reserve your hotel room. So that's the easy thing, is like, okay, like I can get that put in place. But then the ticket itself is the part that, that's where the money starts flowing in and things happen. So
and we're in crunch time too. I mean, we're barely over 2 months. I mean, we've cut the 3 month mark easily. And guys, if you're waffling at all, you're waiting, you need to go ahead and stop waiting, because rooms are all going to be gone. Although hopefully we'll be able to find a roommate, somebody to hang out, to share the room rate and all that. Right. But got to get your tickets, guys, because it's coming fast.
And for anybody who doesn't know, one of the things that's going on behind the scenes that's really cool is there's a whole lot of planning going on for the beer share, which is something that's not like an official part of the convention, but sort of has become like an adopted part of the convention, just because it's a great after hours hangout place, especially if you're like, I don't really want to spend a whole lot of money, but I want to hang out with everybody. And hey, you don't have to worry about, paying for beer, because just either bring some or whatever and hang out with everybody. But man, there's a group of guys who are doing some really cool work to help get guys to the convention for following years. And they've, been raising a lot of money and awareness. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But from what I understand, there are going to be some really cool goodies for raffle prizes and things there. So
I've heard rumors. Yep.
Yeah, I've heard rumors. I've heard whispers. I've talked to those who whisper. So I can definitely not deny that I know that there is definitely some cool stuff coming to that. So just another thing to check out. But yeah, man, I don't have a
secret to reveal, guys.
Not my secret to reveal. Nope, definitely not. Maybe we'll get a little bit closer. Maybe we'll have one of those guys on to talk a little bit more about it. That would be fun, actually. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, I mean, not a whole else going on. This week is just kind of getting back into the swing of things, and that's about it. So
yep. All right, man.
You have a good one, man. We'll talk next week.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.